So is this okay now?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Shazia from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Today, I'll be teaching you about CSS Spinner animations. So before we start the things, let us see what are the basic software requirements for doing CSS Spinner animations. So moving ahead with your software requirements, you can use any type of HTML editor. We have been familiar with the different types of HTML editors in our curriculum, right? So moving ahead, either you can use Notepad or else you can use Dreamweaver software. You can use Coffee Cup HTML editor, or you can use Brackets editor. So there are plenty of HTML editors available online. So today I'll be using the fourth editor that is mentioned over here, that is Brackets editor. Okay. So before I start, let me say you how you should download this Brackets editor. So simply you just need to go, there is a website called as brackets.io. You can download this Brackets.io editor, which is available. It is a free version, and you can see here, download Bracket, the version, or you can go ahead with any other versions, whatever is compatible with your system. Okay. So I have already downloaded my editor. My editor is ready. So you can see here, after the installation, you can find your application in your system. So I'm opening my application. So this is the view of your Brackets editor where we will be coding our CSS spinners today. So before we start about the CSS spinners, let us see what we are going to learn today. So let me start with the basic things. What is HTML? We have learned it already in our curriculum, but let me just revise all the things. HTML stands for, it's a hypertext markup language, and this language is helpful for developing web pages, and it is assisted by various technologies like cascading style sheets, JavaScripts, and many more. Okay, so today we'll be working about cascading style sheets. What actually is this cascading style sheets? So moving ahead with your cascading style sheet, this CSS, this technology in an abbreviated form, we call it as CSS, and CSS stands for cascading style sheets. What are these? What is the purpose here is the way HTML code doesn't itself satisfy for giving you a good look to the web page, right? So we need to have some good background. We need to have a good format. We need to have what we should have good rules for representing our web page. A website should look, what do you say? It should be clean and clear. So CSS is having set of rules for presentation of your HTML. It defines some rules. So you can see here, combination of your HTML with CSS gives you a good web page. So as CSS is specially helpful for presenting your things on your HTML, and you'll be placing your cascading style sheet inside a style tag. Okay. So today we'll be working about your CSS. What actually is a CSS? Let me just show you over here. So basically in your CSS, you're going to have different types of selectors. So here I have taken three categories of selectors. One that you're going to have is a class selector. Other one that you're going to have is ID selector. And the third one that you're going to have is universal selector. So let's start with the first one, class selector. Class is a group of things. So it is selecting some HTML elements to a specific class. And class will be always represented with the help of a period. So let me do a simple example on a class over here. So this is my sample HTML page. So before that, let me show you how you'll be creating a file in brackets. So click on file, click on new, and you can see here a blank page appears. So the basic HTML code, which we know it, I'm just copying it over here. The basic HTML code. See here, the first line says the type of the document that you're going to write. So here we are mentioning here the type of the document that we are going to write is HTML. And always HTML starts with a HTML tag and it ends with a HTML tag. And then a head will be containing the header related information like title, what type of character set you're following, and what should be your device width. So you can see here, whatever is my device width, I'm setting it to the same width and scale is 1. So the main code that I'll be writing here will be present inside the body. The main code that I'll be writing over here will be present inside the body. So let me save the page. How you'll be saving a page? Any page that you want to save it in HTML, you have to select a particular folder, name it. I'm just naming it as some sample one, and all the HTML files should be saved with .html extension.
Hello?
So I'm saving it with sample one. So you can see here, this is my HTML page.
Thank you.
Then you can see over here, I can write down some HTML tags. I'm writing here, welcome to some animation class. So I can see it over here. So see here, you can see the heading I have written over there is welcome to my animation class. Now, as we have read, the first type of selector in CSS, is a class selector. So you need all the time, you have to place your CSS over here. So I'm just writing it over here. So this is my style tag. I'm just making a comment over here stating that my styling should be done in your style tag. So let's go ahead, and as discussed over here, class will be represented with a dot. So I'm mentioning that as well. So this is my class. I'm naming my class as my class. Let us define some properties. Like you can go ahead with some background color. So you can see here there are plenty of colors available. So I'm just selecting a blue violet color. If you want, you can go for font size as well. Font size, I'm giving it as 160 or 3 pixels. So how do we apply a class? Here, after the tag, to whichever this size, the background color and the font size to whom you want to apply, just mention it over here as class is equals to, what is my class name? My class name is my class. So let us preview and see the thing. So see here, the background is violet and you can see the size is 50 pixels. So this type of property or this type of selector, we call it as a class selector in your HTML. So you can add many more things like font, family. You can select various things like cursive. So once you refresh, you will be finding here the cursive type of animation, the cursive type of your font family. Font size also is done already. Fine. Font style, you want it as italic. To make your text italic, you can select your font size as italic. Okay, so this was all about your first selector, that is your class selector. Moving ahead with our second type of selector.
Very, very interesting. So as of now, what are our learnings? Can you repeat?
Yeah, as of now, we have learned CSS. CSS, as discussed, CSS should be placed inside your style tag, and this style tag should be present inside your head tag. So in your CSS, we are going to have three different types of selectors. The first type of selector that we have come across is my class selector. And class selector, you have to place it inside your style tag, and class selector will be, it will be represented with the help of a period symbol, or you can say it as a dot symbol. And inside this, you can mention what properties we needed, what properties we need to apply it, like background color, image, anything we can go ahead. Font style, font family, border, each and everything you can apply it. So this all properties, you can apply it to this heading. So you just need to mention over here the class to which you are going to apply inside your animations. So that is nothing, that is how you are going to apply your class selector. So moving ahead with our next selector that we are going to have is ID selector. ID, in the name itself, it is applies to one singular or specific element. So this is the one which will be selecting a single ID of your HTML, and this you can apply it for single element of your HTML. So it will be followed like class is followed by a class name with a dot symbol. In the similar way, ID selector is followed with the help of a hash symbol followed by an ID name. So let us do an example on ID selector. So I'll give the ID selector as some para1. This is the name that I want to give it. This is my ID. So I'm defining an ID selector. The name of the ID selector over here is para1. So again, you can apply some background or background color. So I'll go with some other background color, some random color, and font style. I'll go with the normal font style. Font family, I'll just go with sans serif. So where are we going to apply this? So you just write down any, or you can apply it to the previous one, or else you can take some heading over here. I'm just writing us text, hello, hi, welcome. Let us see how this text appears without any style. So this is a blank text which is in black color, right? So how are we going to apply this? We will be applying it over here by mentioning ID is equals to, just mention your ID name. So the ID name over here is para. So I'm going to give the same ID name. You can name anything. So I'm writing my ID name. So let me apply the style. So you can see that it is with some light green in color, and then you can see the sans serif style has been applied. So in your CSS animation today, we'll be using ID type of selectors. Last but not the least type of selector that you're going to have is universal. In the name itself, it is universe, means it applies to all the elements that are present on the web pages, irrespective of whatever you have written. The whole page will be colored, so it is universal. It applies to all the elements that are present. So universal selector, it is the one which is represented with a star, or you can say it as asterisk mark that you're going to have. So see here, what I'm going to do, I'll be removing all these codes. Let's put a star over here. So I'm just giving ahead with star. Star applies for all. If you give some color, if you give some background color, we are not mentioning it anything over here. When you give some background color, the whole color is getting applied to the page, because the selector that we have used over here is universal. Universal will be applied for whole page. So these were all three different types of selectors. Now moving ahead with our main topic today. So let us see what we are going to learn. So today I'll be teaching you about three main spinners. So you can see here, the first spinner that I'll be teaching you over here is this one. I hope you can see it over here. So the first spinner, this is the first spinner that we are going to create it today. So you can see that it consists of two rectangles and they are spinning from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. One full turn, we call it as 360 degrees, or you can call it as one turn. So this is our first spinner animation. And moving ahead, the second spinner animation, this is the second thing that you'll be learning over here. This is the second spinner animation, the same thing, but I'm doing it with circles over there. So that's your second spinner animation, which you'll be learning. And the third spinner animation, you can see that the size of the circle is increasing and decreasing. So that will be our third spinner animation. So let's see the animations one by one. Moving ahead with your first spinner animation, before we learn about the spinner animation, it is important to learn what actually is a keyframe. Okay, because we will be doing all the animations based upon keyframes. So let's learn what is a keyframe. So what is a keyframe? Keyframe is which you specify inside your cascading style sheet, or it is the one where you specify your animation code, and it is the one which you'll say which style should come into an effect when you are working, right? So let's see a simple keyframe example that we are having today. So I'll just show you a simple keyframe example which will be changing the background. So see here, to declare a keyframe, you need to write @keyframes followed by the name. So here I'm declaring a keyframe and its name is example. So the name of the keyframe is example, and I'm mentioning it very clearly at 0%. All the time keyframes will be given in the form of percentages. So at 0%, my background color should be red. My background color should be red. At the beginning, what should be my background color? My background color should be red. At 100%, once I finish, at the end, what should be my background color? Let's go for any random color. I'll just make it blue. At my 0%, my background color should be red. And at my 100%, my background color should be blue. This is what I have defined in the keyframe. And the other important thing is keyframe works only with animations. Keyframe works only with the animations. So to whom we are going to apply this keyframe? So first of all, I'll take a tag. There's a tag in HTML, which is a div tag. This div tag is helpful for making a division onto your HTML page, or it is the one which is helpful for making a division on your web page. So let us draw a rectangle inside a div tag. How do we draw a rectangle? Simple. Just you have to give a height and width, then automatically you'll get a rectangle on your web page. So let's see here. I'll give out a height of some 100 pixels and I'll give out a width of 100 pixels. And let us give some color. So background color at 0, I have 0 degrees or 0%, I have given it as red. So I'll name it with red. Okay. So all these properties will be applied to whom? To this division tag. Okay. So let's go ahead and see here. A rectangle is ready. If you want, you can move out the positions by giving out the values over here. Top value, you can give some 10 pixels. Left value, margins, you can set out the margins over here. So I'm giving some 10 pixels value over there for the top, left, and different things. Now, where I'm going to apply these keyframes, as mentioned, keyframes will work only with the help of animations. So I want to apply an animation to this div tag. There is a tag. that is animation tag. So I'm writing here animation to this div tag, that is my rectangle. I want to apply an animation. What is the name? The name I have given over here is example. So I'm giving the same thing, example, and how much time or duration of an animation you need to mention. So you can see there duration. I'll just mention the duration as 3 seconds over there. So let us apply the things. So once again, my keyframe initially at 0 degrees or 0%, the background color is red. And then at 100%, that means after my 3 seconds, it has to change into a blue. So let's see the animation code. See there, it is getting converted from red to blue. So that is how you are going to execute the animation. Once again, if you want to elongate the duration, you can elongate it over here with 4 seconds. You can just refresh the page. From the red color, it is getting converted into a blue color. So the reason of saying this is now we will be doing all the CSS animations using keyframes only. So moving ahead with our first spinner animation is drawing one rectangle in another rectangle. I have named it as a rectangular spinner. So moving ahead, first of all, we have to step 1. We have to create a division inside a body, right? So first let us divide our page where we are going to place a spinner. Then inside the spinner, we have to create the first rectangle, and then we have to create our second rectangle. So let me go ahead. I'll just take a new file, or I'll be using the same one. So just deleting all the code over here. So let us make a spinner. First one, as I have told you, we can use any type of any type of selectors that you're going to have. So the first spinner that I'm going to take over here, I'll name the division tag spinner 1. Inside the spinner, we need to have 2 rectangles, because that's what we have written. This one second. Spinner 1, you can see that. The first rectangle, second rectangle. So this is the division where I need to place 2 rectangles. So I'm just placing it over here. So inside this division, I have to place 2 rectangles. So I'm taking the first one, ID, as I'll name it as rect1, and I'll apply these. ID is equals to rect2, as I need 2 rectangles. Okay, now let us apply our styling. First, let us decide where we should make a division, and the name of the division over here is spinner 1. So I'll be using an ID selector as discussed earlier. ID selector, this is the ID which I have given it already, spinner 1. So let us decide what should be the margin where you're going to place this spinner 1. The simple thing I'm going to give over here is margin. I'll take it as 100 pixels. From everywhere I'm taking the margin as 100 pixels. Then where should I place it? There are different types of positions. So basically I'll be using 2 positions over here. One is absolute and the other one is relative. Now, what is relative? Relative means relative to the current position, whatever is the current position that you are going to have it, we call it as a relative. The current position which we use it, we call it as a relative. So relative is always dealing with the current position. Now, our spinner is ready. Let's go ahead with the next thing. We need to draw a rectangle, right? So how you'll be drawing it? First, rect1, as I have told you already, rectangle is the one where you will be giving your height and width, and then automatically you will be getting a rectangle. So first of all, position, I'll be giving here as absolute. I have already mentioned you, we'll be using 2 types of positions. What are the 2 positions? One is relative. Relative is dealing with the current position. Absolute is a position related to parent or from the parent. Why? What is the parent over here? You can see here, this rectangle is present inside this div tag. So the parent of this one is
Man,
this one. So this
how
is
to do
how you are
portrait
going to
guys. Like,
position from the parent. So I'm taking the position as absolute because it has to follow the position of your parent. I'll be deciding the margin, top value, I need it as 0 pixels, I'll be placing it, and the left value, I'll be placing it as 0. Width, I'll be taking 100%, 100 pixels. For rectangle, we need to always define a height and a width. And of course, you have to give out a background color so that I'll just go with a red color. So you have to select a background color. So let us refresh the page.
it's the same or not?
Is the same.
Yeah, you can see the rectangle over there, and this is red in color. So that is my first rectangle. Moving ahead, what is our spinner over here? Our spinner is one rectangle in another rectangle, right? You can see here. So first rectangle, I have taken already in red color. I need a second rectangle. So you can see there, creation of first rectangle is done. Step 2, creation of your second rectangle. I'll repeat the code because the rectangle code is same all the time. And you can see there, I'm just renaming this 1 to 2 as I need both the rectangles. So let me change just the color because one comes upon the other. I'll just check the color as blue. Let us see about our second rectangle that we are going to have it today. So you can see there, red and blue. Red is below your blue rectangle, right? So if you want, you can just change the positions and you can just check it out over here. You will find both the rectangles. So we need one rectangle on the other. So that's the reason I'm placing it at the same positions. So both the rectangles are one upon the other. Now, moving ahead, I have to rotate them, right? So that I told you, we will be using a keyframes animations for rotation, for spinning. So how do we declare a keyframes? We'll be using keyframes, and the name of the keyframe that I'll be giving you is turn. This is the name of the keyframe that I'll be giving it over here. At 0 degrees or at 0%, I have to rotate it. We do have a function or we do have a transformation that is present as rotate. So rotate from where? 0 degrees till where it has to rotate one full turn. You can call it as 360 degrees. So use the same function, rotate and then 360 degrees. My animation keyframe is ready. Keyframes doesn't work till you apply it to the animation. Let us apply it to the animation now. So how you'll be applying it? Let's see here. To this, for applying it to the animation, what is the name of the animation or the keyframe that you're using? It is turn. So the name of the animation, I'll give it as turn because that's the name of my keyframe. For what is the duration? 2 seconds. And the function you're going to have built-in functions is in out. It has to move very easily in out without any delay. 0 seconds, this is a delay, and then it should keep on continuing, or else I'll just show you this one first. Let's move ahead with the animation. You can see there the back rectangle is moving. Okay, the rectangle which is at the back side, it is moving. I wanted to make it move infinite number of times. So I just write it as infinite for 0 seconds. Without waiting for any delay, it should go on moving. So you can see that it is just rotating infinite number of times with a 2 seconds delay, with a 2 seconds, for every 2 seconds, it is taking up the animation, right? Now I want the next rectangle, which is blue color. I want it to rotate it with the same effect. So I'll just copy this thing. Same thing. Turn, 2 seconds, easy in and out rotation, 0 seconds without any delay. It should keep on rotating for infinite number of times. Both the things are rotating. Since both are having the same duration, they are rotating at the same speed. So I'm just rotating. I'll just delay the second one by 1 second. So here I'm mentioning it as 2 seconds. I'm delaying it by 1 second so that I can see both the rectangles moving from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. Now you can see that the rectangles are moving. The second rectangle is moving with 3 seconds delay. 1 second delay with your first one. So you can mention the things. So this is all about our first spinner of your CSS using keyframes and animations. Is it clear? So this is how you can see here the first spinner animations where you are trying to ease in out. This is a built-in function, and 0 seconds for 0 seconds without waiting. It keeps on moving for infinite number of times. Now, moving ahead with our second animation. The same thing, I'll be using the same example, but here, let us see our second thing that we are going to have is spinner 2. What is the spinner 2? You can see there are circles over there. One circle inside another circle, right? So, and the rotation is same, 0 degrees to 360 degrees. So, keyframes will not change. So, let us see here how we are going to do the second spinner of the day. So, moving ahead with your second spinner that you're going to have is, let us see what are the steps. So, here the first spinner, we have created the first rectangle, second rectangle, keyframes, and done with the animation. Now, moving ahead with your second spinner, you can see here what you're going to have it over here is second spinner. I have named it as circle spinner. First one, again, let us make a division. Second, we have to draw the first circle. Third one, you have to draw the outer circle, second circle, and then again we need to create a keyframes and we need to add this animations using Bezier curves. So let us see it one by one, how you'll be doing it. Now, moving ahead with your second spinner animation, I'm just clearing out everything. You can see the basic code over here. First, let us make a division. So I'll name the division over here with an ID as spinner 2. This is my second division. Inside this division, as you can see, we should have 2 circles. You can see that first circle and the second circle. So let me write down the same thing. I'll name the first circle. I'll apply it over here as, I'll name it as inner circle. And the second one that you're going to have is, I'll name the outer circle as outer. Let us apply why we are naming it, because we can apply the style sheets using the same thing. Now, spinner 2, let us decide where are we going to place this. As usual, again, this is an ID spinner 2, right? So where are we going to place this? Again, I'll just go ahead with the same thing. Margin, I'll place it 100 pixels as the margin, and position as discussed. We can have 2 positions. Either you can use relative or absolute. Relative always deals with the current position. Absolute always deals with the position with respect to the parent. So this, I'm taking it as relative. Now, the second thing, what is the second step that we are having over here? I have created a division tag. The second one, I have to create 2 circles. Right. So how am I going to create 2 circles? See here. The first circle, I'll be naming it as inner. So this is my inner circle. Same thing, whatever we have done it for rectangle will follow the same thing. If you give width of 100 pixels and if you give a height of 100 pixels or 100 or 150 pixels, you can give anything. So I'm giving here an height and width of 100 pixels as informed. If you just give width and height, then it becomes a rectangle. We do not want a rectangle over here. We need a circle. So whenever we need a circle, just mention the radius thing. So I'm just adding an extra thing over here, that is radius should be 50%. It should be 50% of what? It should be 50% of your width and height, that is 75 and 75, right? So now you will get a circle. Now moving ahead, let's decide a border. You can see there, my circle is not filled. It is just having a border from the outside one, right? If you want to fill it, you can fill it, but I'm not going to fill the circle. I just want to have a border. So I'm just taking over here a border. So border, its width should be some 4 pixels and it should be a solid border and it should be transparent. It should be a solid border and it should be a transparent thing. Now, the other thing, what should be the border color? So I'm just going with the border top color. I'll go ahead with red color. And then I have 2 borders, right? Bottom. I'm not giving all the borders. If you give all the borders, it becomes a full circle. So I am just taking 2 borders over here. The first border that I'm taking is a top border, which is red in color. And the bottom border, I'm taking it as red in color. Position, the position should be with respect to a parent. So what is our parent over here? It is spinner 2. So whatever is the position, here you have mentioned it is relative, current, and this is with respect to your parent. So position, I'm giving it as absolute position. And then let us place it. Where are we going to place it? From some 10 pixels, I'm going to place it on the left and onto your right. So let us display it. The name of the page is sample 1. I have it over here. So you can see that a circle is ready with a top border and a bottom border, right? Now I need another circle. Step 1, step 2, we have finished it. Step 3 is creation of your circle 2. Now how do we create it? Repeat the code. Just copying the code and I'm pasting it over here, and instead of inner, I'll name the circle as outer. I'll go with the same border radius and with the same height and width. So let us see here. I'll just change the color over here. Blue. And here also, I'm just changing the color to blue. So what is happening? It is one upon the other. So let us increase the size of your outer circle. Instead of 150, I'm making it as 170 so that you can have a good radius. Okay. Now, let us also set out the positions as well because they are one upon the other. So instead of 0 pixels, you can just set out the margins. 10 pixels, I'm just setting the margins to, or top value is equals to, from 0, 10, I'm making it to 0. You can try out various things in order to set your things, like you can try with 8 pixels and check out the positions, how the circles are coming. So set it according to your thing. So this is 8 pixels. Setting it to 0 so that it comes one upon the other. So our circles are ready. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to spin them, right? So just now, as we have learned a keyframe. What is it? Which will be rotating from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. Repeat the same code which we have done it. So how do we declare a keyframe? We'll follow with the same thing of your previous keyframe that we have written. So I'm just going ahead with @keyframes, the same keyframes thing. And I'll name the keyframes as turn at 0 degrees. It has to transform and rotate it from 0 degree. And 100%, it has to transform one complete turn. So I'll be going ahead with 360 degrees. Fine. So we have done with the keyframes thing. Now we need to add it to the animation. Unless or until you add the things to the animation, it won't be working. So keyframes works with what? Keyframes works with only animations. So let us add the animation. Animation. Then you can see turn And then for how many seconds, what should be the duration over here? So I'm giving here the duration of 2 seconds, and we do have a function for rotation or for drawing the things on your computer graphic, that is cubic Bezier. So let me say you first what actually is this Bezier or Bezier curves that you're going to have. So Bezier curves is the one which helps you to draw any animation or any curve in your computer graphics. You can draw it with the help of a function that is present in your cascading style sheets, that is cubic Bezier one. It is generally going to have 4 points: point 0, point 1, point 2, and point 3. Point 0 is the starting point, point 3 is the ending point. And remaining 2 points, P1 and P2, they are the ones which will join your curves. You can follow some ratios, and generally you'll be using this with animations. In order to draw any curve in your animation, we will be using this Bezier curve. Okay, so let me show you how we'll be drawing a Bezier curve first. Okay, so how we'll be drawing it, let's see here. Taking a new file, renaming it as this. So you can see here, I'm just drawing a Bezier curve over here. This is a simple example for Bezier curve to join any 2 points. Okay, so let us go for the styling. So when we go for the styling, first let us make a division. Again, I'll just use width of 100 pixels, height of 100 pixels, followed by some background color, red, and then transition. I need it width-wise. For 2 seconds, it has to increase my width. And the timing of the transition, you will be using a cubic Bezier. This is the one where I'm saying here, my transition should start from 0.1 point and 0.7. These are the coordinates that I'm going to mention it over here. 1.0, again, it should come back to your beginning point. You can see that this is the starting point and this is the ending point. So what we are going to do over here is I just want to increase my width to some 300 pixels. So let's see here. The name of the file is bb.html. So you can see there. A second. When I hover it, its width should be 300 pixels. So you can see there, it's a normal rectangle. So when I hover it, the width is getting increased by 300 pixels. So this is the use of Bezier curve. Instead of rectangle, as mentioned, if you want a circle, then how you'll be doing it? You just have to mention the radius. Just mentioning the radius as 50%. You can see here, instead of rectangle, you'll find a circle. When you place it, hover it, its size will increase automatically by 300 pixels or your respective size that you have mentioned. So the use of Bezier curves over here is to draw something, to draw a graphic, a curve into your computer graphics. We use this. So let us use, because circle, we are trying to draw a curve. So let us use a Bezier curve point. So I'm using over here, turn it with cubic, with some coordinates. So you can take some rough coordinates, but make sure you can use, you have to have a good start point and an end point which fits according to your animation. So my coordinates, according to my example, I have set it as 0.25, 0.46, 0.45, and 0.94. My animation is ready. So you can see there, my circle is rotating. The inner circle is rotating over there, right? So I want it to rotate it without any delay. It should rotate infinite number of times. So I'm mentioning it over there as it should rotate for infinite times. So see here, it's going on rotating repeatedly because I have mentioned my iteration count as infinite number of times. So inner circle is done. Let's go ahead with our outer circle. Repeat the code. Just copy it and let us go ahead with our outer circle. Outer circle, it is bigger when compared to your inner circle. So I'm just changing the coordinates to a little bit bigger values. So I'm setting it as 0.785, 0.135. Just be careful with your starting and end points. Make sure your starting point should be 7.8 and your ending point should be 8.6. Rest, you can give out any values. Let me turn the animation so you can see there. The two circles are rotating one inside the other, inner one and the outer one. If you want to place any text inside the circle, you can place that too as well. So where you'll be placing here, you have, for example, if you want to place a text inside your inner circle, you cannot place it outside on the outside circle. You need to place it inside the inner circle. So where do we write the code? We have to write down the code over here. So this is my inner circle. I'll be using a simple code over here. That is, I'll be using a paragraph tag. Paragraph tag is helpful for writing any content. So I'm writing here. I'm just writing here as apptech. So let's see here. So you can see the position is not aligned. So let's go ahead and align some positions over here. I'll just style it over here itself. So I'm using style. Where do I want it? I want it, you can see there, vertical align. I need it in the middle. And as well, I'll also increase its font. So I'm just writing here, font size, I'll set it to some 50 pixels. So let us refresh the code and check it out over here. So see there, apptech is in the center. You can go ahead with any animations or you can write down any text, place a logo, place a picture, everything works over here. Okay, so make sure you place the things inside your inner circle only. So that's how your code will be working. So this is my inner circle. So whatever code you're going ahead, you have to write it down. You can use p tag, paragraph tag, you can use image tag or any other tag. So that was all about our second animation, second spinner animation that we have learned. Now, moving ahead with our last inner animation that we are going to have is spinner 3. This is recycling of your circle. Recycling, increasing the size and making it to normal. So first thing or the first step that you're going to do is create a div tag. Again, you have to make a division where you're going to place a circle. Second one, you have to create the first circle, only one circle we need it, and then you have to mention it, what you're going to do it with the circle, how the size, how the transformations are going to take place. So let's see here, you can see this. This is our third spinner animation. You can see that the size is getting increased and the size is getting decreased over there, and you can see the changes in the border color and everything that you're going to have. So let's see here what we are going to do it over here. Again, I'll repeat it. I'm just removing all the codes. Okay, my page is clear now. So let's go ahead with our next animation. So first of all, let us make a division. So I'm making the division, I'm naming it as spinner 3. And inside the spinner, as you can see, there is only one circle present. So let's go ahead. I'll make the division for the circle as well. So I'm just mentioning it over here. That is circle. So let's design where you're going to place your spinner. Spinner 3, I'll be placing it at some margin position. As usual, I'll just take position. You can take the same position as a relative, a circle. mention the width. We have to mention its height. Okay. I'll take the same 50% of height and width. So that is your circle. Let us give some color so that we can see our circle. I'll go with some aqua color. Position, follow with the current position. So let's see here. So our circle is ready. Now, what is the next thing? We need to put a border to this circle. You can see I have placed two different borders over here. It's your choice whether you want to place two different borders at two different widths also, you can say it. At one side it is thinner and the other side it is thicker, right? So let's go ahead and let's use another thing with the circle. We do have pseudo classes, that is how it should appear. The pseudo classes are the ones which will work with your animations. I'm taking a pseudo class after. So this is a pseudo class which is explaining you, and I don't want any content over there. So I'm writing here content as a blank. I'm making it as a blank content, and then again, I need to have a border. I'll be taking same 150 pixels, which I have taken it above, and height, I'll be taking it as 150 pixels. And then I need a solid line on the border. So I'll take 8 pixels of border with some solid blue color. So I'll go with some solid or you can go ahead with any color that you need. So let me set the positions over here. So border, left side border, I need it little bit. Let me decide the left side style border width as 4 pixels. As I need a thicker and a thinner border. Position, it should go along with the parent. So that's the reason I need to mention it as absolute, because its parent is your spinner 3. We need to position it as well. And top value, I'll take it as -8. I'll say you why I'm going to take the top value as -8 as well. So I'm taking here -8 pixels. Left value, I'm taking it as -8. Let's see here. And 10, the border is little bit, it's moved away from the circle. So you can adjust it. So I'll just take it as 2 pixels. You can check with the border. Still. So that gets fixed with my circle over there. So -8 and -8 position is exactly fitting into the circle. So you can see here, this border is 4 pixels and the other side border is, you can see there, it is 8 pixels. It is little bit thicker. Now, moving ahead with your next thing that we are going to have is, let us go with the animation. Before that, as you can see here, this is rotating. The border is rotating. So I'll be using the same keyframes code, what we have done it in the earlier one. So I'll use the same keyframes code for rotating. So keyframes, I'll take it as turn, and at 0 degrees or at 0%, I want it to rotate. So I'll write it as rotate 0 degrees. At 100%, transforming using the same thing again. I'll make it with one turn, rotate 360 degrees as I rotate it. Now, and just writing for 2 seconds. My animation should be rotating now. The circle is rotating. I want it to rotate it for infinite number of times. So without any delay, I'm just mentioning it as infinite. So you can see that how you will be increasing our size. To increase the size, we are going to have a keyframes again. Let us make a keyframe for increasing the size. So I'm writing here keyframes, and the name of the keyframe that I'll be giving over here is size. 0%. My size should be, you can change the size with the help of transform. And then in order to change the size, we have an option called as scale. Initially, my scale should be 1. 1 means normal one. And then the second one at 50% means at the mid of the frame, my transformation, I have to increase its size. So I'll write scale of 1.2. And then at 100%, I want it to get normal. So I'll write it as transform scale of 1. Again, see, from 1, it has to increase it to 1.2 and then back to 1 at your position. Next, let us apply the animation. The last step that we are going to do over here is just applying the animation. Name of the animation to the circle is size for 2 seconds. And for circles, we have to use cubic Bezier curve. So I'm using the same thing over here. I'm taking a cubic Bezier function and I'm setting the coordinates as 0.215 and then I'm setting the 0.2 as 0.610. You can set it accordingly based upon your curve values and then 1. So let us see here. So you can see the size is increasing from 1, 1.2, and then it is getting back to your normal one. You can increase the size and you can decrease it. You can scale it over here. I can mention it as 1.5. So I want this to get repeated for infinite number of times again. So I'll just mention it with 0 seconds of delay. It has to repeat it for infinite number of times. So this is how you will be seeing your animation finally. So these were all the 3 different types of animations that we have worked with the CSS concepts. I hope you have liked all the spinner concepts that we have learned so far.
Sanjay, it was really interesting.
Thank you, sir.
Let's discuss the takeaway. Okay, so in 5 minutes, can you discuss right from the initiation we had started? That's how to download the bracket and then sequences.
Okay, so let me just give you an overview again. The software that I have used over here is Brackets. So you need to download.
Just go to the Google and how to download that so that people will understand.
I'll just go ahead.
And just mention this is a free software. Okay.
Okay, the name of the software over here, I'm just mentioning over here the Brackets as the software name. Brackets.io is the website where you can download the software. This is one of the famous HTML editor where many developers are using this nowadays. Okay, so a short review of all the things which we have learned so far. You can use Dreamweaver, Notepad, any HTML editor. And here I have used a Brackets HTML editor. So basically we have worked with CSS, that is cascading style sheets. Every style sheet we have done it in your every cascading, everything, every styling, designing, animations, they work with the help of cascading style sheets. And we have seen 3 different types of selectors: class selector, ID selector, and universal selector. Class selector will be followed with a dot and the class name. ID selector, hash with a class name. Universal with a star. And then we have seen keyframe. Keyframe is something where you can change the style, at what position, at what things you're going to do it. I mean, like at 0, 10% or 0%, how it should behave, at 50%, at 100%.